What is right? What is wrong? It seems like a simple question, one we grapple with daily. We praise acts of kindness and condemn acts of cruelty. We have laws defining acceptable behavior and societal norms guiding our interactions. But where do these notions of right and wrong truly come from? Are they universal truths, etched into the fabric of the cosmos, objective and unchanging? Or are they human constructs, shaped by culture, time, and individual perspective, entirely subjective? Think about historical practices once considered normal, now deemed abhorrent. Consider cultural differences in ethical standards. Does this variability mean morality is just a matter of opinion? Or is there an underlying objective foundation beneath the shifting sands of human judgment? This fundamental question, the objectivity versus subjectivity of morality, lies at the heart of philosophical debate and has profound implications for how we live, judge, and build our societies. Welcome back to the Noble Wisdom Path. In this episode, we delve into the complex and often contentious realm of morality. We constantly make moral judgments, navigate ethical dilemmas, and strive to live according to certain principles. But what is morality fundamentally? Is it a set of absolute rules discovered, like the laws of physics? Or is it a system invented, like the rules of a game? We'll explore the arguments for both objective morality, the idea that certain actions are intrinsically right or wrong, regardless of opinion, and subjective or relative morality, the idea that moral truths depend on individual or cultural perspectives. We will examine how factors like biology, culture, and even technology, like AI ethics bots, as mentioned in the source, challenge our understanding. Crucially, we will also explore the Buddhist perspective on ethics, Sila, which offers a pragmatic path focused on intention, consequences, and the cultivation of wholesome qualities, providing a unique lens through which to view this age-old debate. Join us as we navigate the intricate landscape of right and wrong. The case for objective morality. Arguments for objective morality often stem from religious doctrines, philosophical reasoning, or observations of seemingly universal human values. Many religious traditions posit a divine lawgiver who establishes absolute moral commands. Actions are right or wrong because God decrees them so. This provides a firm, external foundation for ethics. Philosophically, thinkers like Immanuel Kant proposed the categorical imperative, suggesting that moral rules can be derived through reason and must be universalizable, applicable to everyone in all situations. For Kant, actions like lying or breaking promises are inherently wrong because they cannot be consistently willed as universal laws without contradiction. Another line of reasoning points to shared human intuitions. Across diverse cultures, there seems to be a core condemnation of actions like murder, unjustified killing, theft, and cruelty, and an appreciation for kindness, fairness, and honesty. Proponents argue this suggests an innate moral sense, perhaps evolved, pointing towards objective truths. Some philosophers appeal to objective values, arguing that well-being, flourishing, or happiness are intrinsically good, and actions promoting these are objectively right, while those hindering them are objectively wrong. Sam Harris, for instance, argues for a science of morality, suggesting that ethical questions are ultimately about the well-being of conscious creatures, which can be studied empirically. While acknowledging cultural variations in applying moral principles, objectivists maintain that the fundamental principles themselves, like minimizing suffering or promoting fairness, hold true universally. The challenge lies in definitively identifying these objective truths and reconciling them with the undeniable diversity of human moral beliefs and practices. Is the shared condemnation of cruelty, for example, proof of an objective rule, or merely a widely shared subjective preference rooted in empathy and evolutionary advantage? the case for subjective/relative morality. Conversely, the argument for moral subjectivity or relativism emphasizes the vast diversity of moral codes across cultures and throughout history. What is considered virtuous in one society might be condemned in another. Practices like polygamy, certain dietary laws, or attitudes towards warfare vary dramatically. Historical examples abound. Slavery was once widely accepted, women's suffrage was denied, and child labor was common. Practices now viewed as morally reprehensible by many. Relativists argue this demonstrates that morality is not fixed, but is a product of social agreement, cultural conditioning, and historical context. There is no universal, objective standard to judge one culture's morality as superior to another's. Right and wrong are relative to a specific framework. Individual subjectivism takes this further, suggesting morality is purely a matter of personal opinion or feeling. X is wrong simply means I disapprove of X. There are no objective moral facts, only individual attitudes. This view faces challenges, as it seems to preclude meaningful moral disagreement or criticism. If morality is just personal opinion, how can we condemn actions like genocide or torture as genuinely wrong, rather than just expressing our dislike? Cultural relativism holds that morality is determined by the norms of one society. An action is right if it conforms to the standards of that culture. While this acknowledges social influence, it struggles with issues like moral progress. How can we say abolishing slavery was progress if morality is just relative to the time? Criticism of one's own culture's norms and the existence of universal human rights that seem to transcend cultural boundaries. The original transcript's mention of AI like Delphi attempting to learn human morality highlights the difficulty. Which human values does it learn? Whose morality becomes the standard? The sheer variability and adaptability of human ethical systems strongly suggest a significant subjective or relative component, even if it doesn't negate the possibility of some underlying objective elements. Biology, neuroscience, and morality. The debate extends into the realm of biology and neuroscience. Are our moral judgments simply products of our evolutionary history and brain chemistry? Evolutionary psychology suggests that behaviors promoting survival and cooperation, like altruism towards kin or reciprocity, became ingrained as moral intuitions. Empathy, the ability to feel another's suffering, likely evolved to facilitate social bonding and caregiving, forming a biological basis for compassion. Neuroscience provides further intriguing insights. Brain imaging studies show specific regions activating during moral decision-making, involving both emotional responses, like disgust or empathy, processed in areas like the amygdala and insula, and rational deliberation, processed in the prefrontal cortex. The transcript highlights disturbing cases where brain damage dramatically alters moral behavior, tumors turning respected individuals into criminals, or malfunctions potentially mitigating culpability. If a physical change in the brain can fundamentally alter one's moral compass and choices, does this undermine the idea of objective moral truths or free will in moral decision-making? A topic for another episode? It suggests our moral judgments are deeply intertwined with our biological hardware. This biological perspective doesn't necessarily settle the objective versus subjective debate, but it adds complexity. If morality is rooted in evolved intuitions and brain function, does that make it objective as a feature of human nature or subjective as contingent on our specific biology? It could be argued that while the capacity for moral judgment is biological, the content of specific moral rules is still culturally shaped. However, the fact that brain damage can impair moral reasoning suggests that morality isn't purely an abstract, rational construct, but is dependent on specific neurological processes. This biological grounding challenges purely rationalist accounts of objective morality and purely cultural accounts of subjective morality, indicating a complex interplay between our evolved nature and our social environment. The Buddhist perspective on ethics. Buddhism offers a pragmatic and nuanced approach to ethics, known as Sila, which sidesteps the strict objective/subjective dichotomy. While not typically framed as discovering absolute divine commands or asserting pure cultural relativism, Buddhist ethics are grounded in the universal truths of suffering, *dukkha*, its causes, and the path to its cessation. The core aim is liberation from suffering for oneself and others. Buddhist ethics are primarily based on the principle of non-harming, *ahimsa*, and the cultivation of wholesome states of mind. The 5 precepts, the basic ethical guidelines for lay practitioners, reflect this: abstaining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, and intoxicants that cloud the mind. These are not presented as rigid commandments from an external authority, but as training principles voluntarily undertaken to purify the mind and prevent actions that cause suffering. The emphasis is heavily on intention, *satana*. An action's moral quality is largely determined by the mental state behind it. Actions motivated by greed, hatred, and delusion are considered unwholesome, *akusala*, because they lead to suffering for oneself and others, reinforcing negative karmic patterns. Actions motivated by generosity, loving kindness, metta, compassion, karuna, and wisdom are wholesome, *kusala*, as they lead to happiness and liberation. This focus on intention allows for flexibility in complex situations, moving beyond simple rule following. Furthermore, Buddhist ethics are deeply connected to the understanding of karma and dependent origination, *padikassamuppada*. Karma is understood not as divine retribution, but as the natural law of cause and effect operating through intentional actions. Wholesome actions lead to favorable results, while unwholesome actions lead to unfavorable results, shaping future experiences. Dependent origination highlights the interconnectedness of all phenomena. Our actions inevitably affect others. Therefore, ethical conduct is essential not only for one's own well-being, but for the well-being of the entire web of life. Is this objective or subjective? It contains elements of both. It's objective in its grounding in the universal reality of suffering and the observable consequences of actions, karma. The principles of non-harming and cultivating wholesome states are seen as universally beneficial. However, its application relies on individual wisdom, mindfulness, and understanding of context, incorporating a subjective element of personal responsibility and discernment. It's less about adhering to external rules and more about developing inner virtue and wisdom to navigate life skillfully and compassionately, ultimately leading away from suffering. The question of whether morality is objective or subjective remains a profound philosophical challenge without easy answers. We see compelling arguments on both sides: the apparent universality of certain core values versus the undeniable diversity of cultural norms, the appeal to reason or divine law versus the influence of biology and social conditioning. Perhaps the dichotomy itself is too simplistic. Morality might be a complex tapestry woven from threads of evolved intuition, cultural learning, rational reflection, and personal feeling. The Buddhist perspective offers a valuable middle way, focusing not on the ultimate ontological status of moral rules, but on their practical function, alleviating suffering and cultivating wholesome qualities. By emphasizing intention, non-harming, and understanding the consequences of our actions within an interconnected reality, it provides a robust ethical framework applicable across diverse contexts. It encourages us to look inward, to purify our own minds, and to act with wisdom and compassion, recognizing that our choices ripple outwards. Ultimately, Whether morality is discovered or invented, the challenge lies in living ethically, striving to reduce harm, promote well-being, and navigate the complexities of human existence with integrity and kindness on our shared path. Do you lean towards objective or subjective morality, or perhaps something in between? How does the Buddhist perspective resonate with your understanding? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you value these explorations, please like, subscribe, and join us again on the Noble Wisdom Path.